good.
Dylan Larkin comes back with a gold medal, talks to all the guys on the ice today. How does that maybe leach into the final 24 games of the season and the positives that need to continue for this team?
Well, we all watched those games, and the impact that Lark's had throughout the Olympics was significant, I believe. While the game was being played on the bench, probably in the Olympic Village, so he left his mark there. And as our leader, as our captain, we now believe that he can come back and do that here. So as he comes back, a lot of players gathered around, asked him a lot of questions about his experience there. Probably talked about other players on his team and who he played against. So he's got a lot to share. Now here's the but part. It just can't be Dylan, but it has to be Dylan. So that's kind of that's strange. But he's our leader. He sets the tone each and every night, and we expect that from him. But it can't just be Dylan. It's got to be the group as a whole, and we think the group is ready to answer the bell. And now we got to go take the test for the next 5.5 weeks.
What was the first thing you said to Dylan today when you saw him?
Congratulations and welcome back. And he was excited, a little bit weary. Obviously, he's been through a lot over the last little bit. And then some of the first words that came out of his mouth is, "I want to skate today." And that was a real good sign. That wasn't us asking him to skate or anything like that. He wanted to be out there with his teammates. So good start.
You said this team has to answer the bell, and we've talked a lot about how March has been a tough month for this team. What makes you confident that they are ready to answer the bell?
Well, quite frankly, I'm sick of hearing about March and March this and March that. It's another month in a season, and a lot of the people in that locker room had nothing to do with what happened 2 years ago. Some of them had something to do with what happened last year. But we had put ourselves in such a poor position, heading into Christmas, that we had a big road to climb, and it's hard to play, have 7-game winning streaks over and over and over again. Other teams have a say in it. So this group is going to write its own story. It's going to have its own identity. I'm not going to answer March questions anymore. We all are going to answer the question, and we're going to play. If you keep thinking about it, keep talking about it, and keep believing in it, you probably get it again, and that's not what we want.
We saw so many injuries, unfortunately, to key players. You got Kevin Fiala, Mikko Rantanen, and now Sidney Crosby. Was there any kind of sense of relief on your part that Lucas and Moritz and now Dylan came back healthy, and then especially with Simon set to return, that this team is healthy going into the stretch drive here?
Of course. We hold your breath. You saw Wilson run over Larks there. That situation was, you hold your breath for a few seconds. Okay, get up, keep playing, and away he goes. Mo played, I think, the most minutes out of any defenseman per game over there. So there's that risk of having individuals get banged up over there. And we were already going into the break without a pretty good defenseman in Simon. All that's healed up. Lark's coming back. I'm sure he feels, well, at least from what I understand, he probably feels a lot better this year than he did last year. So that's a positive too. But for us, having that discussion about our team, there's 32 others that, for the most part, other than the guys that got hurt over in Milan, had time to heal and time to refresh and time to get better. So I don't think we're at an advantage by any means, or a disadvantage, really.
Todd, 8 straight days here now, practices without games. Did you get what you were hoping for out of this kind of mini training camp, and just how eager are you to now finally get back into games?
I believe we have. If you look at how we approached it, we took the first day just to get our legs and hands, lungs back underneath us, and then we built from there. We took it down a little bit, to today. Players are sick of practicing. They're not used to that type of rhythm, especially at the NHL level, irregardless of Olympics or not. Even in a normal regular season, you don't get that much practice time in a row. So this was odd for them. Asked a couple how they're feeling, and they gave me positive answers. but they also ended by saying it's time to play. We're sick of practice, so good for them.
Hey, Todd, how are you going to lean on the goaltending here? I mean, Talbot probably hasn't played in a while. Gibson, are you going to try to just going to go night to night, or what's the situation?
Night, we're going to try and win as many games as we can. We're aware of where they're both at. They both had great breaks. The goaltenders coming out of it probably take their workload up more than anybody because they're facing shot after shot. So they've had some good work over the past 2 weeks. So we'll have to watch how they, they'll show us signs of fatigue if any of that exists. We want to keep them healthy, but it's decisions based on winning games.
Do you like the idea of starting these first 3 games on the road right after this break?
It really doesn't matter to me. I don't think to our team it matters. We have to play them. We're going into buildings that are tough. Ottawa, Carolina, 2 teams that are at the top of shot suppression in the National Hockey League. They just don't give up much. There's no better way than getting tested like that right away. Can we get our offense going? Can we be solid defensively? Can we connect on special teams? So it's time.
I recall in Utah you had talked about how those games going into the break can be unpredictable in some sort of ways. Does that apply to games coming back from the break? And if so, how do you make it more predictable?
Well, we try and, the 8 days of practice tries to prepare the group for that. But I think these I worry less about this game, these first few games, than I do the Utah game, because your mind is going somewhere, and it's been a long grind. Now they're excited about playing. They're looking forward to it. But again, so is Ottawa, so is Carolina and Nashville, I guess, on this trip. We're all in the same boat.